Hello again, and welcome to part 2 of looking at the Club Penguin 3D model. I wasn't intending on making a part 2, but the last video was very well received, and there were a few questions in the comments that I kind of wanted to answer or address. And also, as it so happens, about a week ago, I found a slightly newer file of the Club Penguin 3D model. This wasn't just me trying to pretend things. I literally just found it. So I thought, okay, there's a few more items for me to look at, so let's go do that. The first question that came up was somebody noticed that I missed the hoodie. This was unintentional. I was not trying to miss the hoodie, so let's turn it on. And let's show how we would have done this back in the day. So we'll unhide the hooded sweatshirt. Unhide that for the arm, unhide that, unhide that. Now, you need to understand that lots of Club Penguin items ended up using these sleeves. We would recolor them for different sweatshirts or for different things just because there wasn't much point in remaking the same sleeve over and over for different clothing items. So we have this guy. It's the hoodie. Let's show it walking around here and doing things. Shoulder crash through, like I mentioned in the last video. And let's turn him around because I actually quite liked the way that the hood turned out. So, yeah, there we go. Good stuff. Yeah. All right. So, let's flip that back around again. Okay, we're going to turn off all of the hoodie pieces. And then we're going to go and see some new items down here. Now, I believe last time I stopped with the the Santa hat. This one right here. Yeah. So, we're going to go on further than that. We have the football helmet. Now, you might be wondering why there is this red splotch here. That's because for the football helmet item, we actually did some extra work changing this red into the line tool so that it would look like there was this line in front of the penguin's face. And this was our way of doing that. We removed the red spot afterwards, but this was that. So it wasn't because it was like some sort of weird mask thing. It's just because we didn't want to have to draw the line, the grill of the face mask over and over of the football helmet. Electric guitar, which was made in much the same way as the acoustic guitar, where it was just a shape that was given depth with extruding. There is the St. Patrick's hat, which you may notice is basically just the bowler hat. If I can find it. And here we go. The bowler hat. No, it's not the bowler hat. I'm sorry. There was a different. Anyway, yeah, St. Patrick's hat. I believe we did end up using this again, recoloring it without the clover on top. But, yeah, sorry. St. Patrick's hat. All right, next one is an unseen item, a pilgrim's hat. So we do get the question every once in a while, why was Thanksgiving never celebrated on Club Penguin? So I don't have an official answer for that, but I have a couple of hunches. A couple of weird things about Thanksgiving. One is that Thanksgiving is celebrated at different times of the year in different countries. If we had been an American company working on this, we may have just done a Thanksgiving in November every year right from the beginning. But since Club Penguin was made in Canada, where we celebrate Thanksgiving in October instead of November, and we know there are many other places in the world that don't celebrate Thanksgiving at all and don't have any frame of reference. It was an odd one for a worldwide audience, and we just never quite got around to doing it. The other thing is that Thanksgiving is famous for being a celebration where you have turkey dinner, and penguins eating turkey, there would have been some odd meetings about how to make that work. I know there are a couple of storybooks out there with, like, say, Donald Duck enjoying a turkey dinner with Huey, Dewey, and Louie, but in general, you don't have birds eat other birds. That's just common bird courtesy. Birdacy, if you will. All right, next we will go to the toque. In other places of the world, this would be known as a beanie. I know there's some places in the southern United States that actually call it a toboggan, but this clothing item in Canada is usually always called a toque. So we called it a toque because we're Canadian. There's a completely different item that is called a toque, spelled the same way, and that's the chef's hat. And we might even get there. I think the chef's hat, yeah, it's right there. So we'll get to that one. All right. I just realized that I never actually hid the main body for the hooded sweatshirts. I completely ignored that. All right. The Christmas scarf is another item that was made. It was made based on the model for the yellow scarf from the previous video, but it had to be re-rendered because this time it actually had stripes on it. So that's that one there. Let's see what we have next. We have the grad cap, which was, oh, that's weird. Oh dear, look at that. It's, the grad cap appears to have part of its object connected to a different clothing item or something like that. I sincerely hope that was fixed. I'm sure it must have been, but yeah, something, graduation headpiece. Yeah, that was not made right. I'm sure it was in the end, but yes. So yeah, sometimes glitches like that kind of thing happen. It's circling around his head like it's this tiny little grad cap planet. That's funny. Okay. Next, bag on head. This was a silly idea that I had of, like, just someone who's just kind of embarrassed to be there. I don't think this was ever used, partially just because at the time we weren't doing things that completely covered the head like this. Later on, of course, we were a bit more creative with our clothing items, but yeah, paper bag on the head. I think that was joked about as being a free item at some point, but we didn't really like the idea of all these kids who could only wear a bag on their head and nothing else. The Russian hat. This was a nice, fun one. It looks more detailed than it actually is. Let's see if I can get to a different view of it here. So it's just basically rounded cubes on top of a cylinder shape, but it doesn't really matter because in the 3D, when you're looking at it on Penguin, it's so small that it's just very hard to see. So, yeah, Russian hat. Roman soldier. This, I think, has been almost completely forgotten as a clothing item. Not many people really wore this helmet. I think the only reason I added it in the first place was because of the Looney Tunes character Marvin the Martian.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
If you haven't seen Looney Tunes, that will have made no sense to you, but moving on. Ah, yes. So this is the body piece for the faux fur jacket, or whatever name we ended up calling it. Yeah, this was one of the clothing items that I was encouraged by Lane to make. One of the types of clothing items after he realized that I wasn't really doing anything that was trendy. So if you can imagine this with sleeves, I'm not going to go up and unhide the sleeves right now, but they'd be the same sleeves as the hooded sweatshirt. Yeah, this was one of those clothing items to try and look a little bit more stylish, which it does far more so in the 2D clothing. We called it the paper doll, the little 2D penguin that all the clothing items went on, the illustrated items. This is the 3D penguin here. Okay, top hat, trendy in a different way. Look at that dapper penguin right there. Yeah, that was intended to go well with the bow tie, at least before the secret agent stuff started coming out. Let's see. Top hat. Hide. The newspaper hat. This one was augmented in Flash as far as I can recall, where after it was rendered out, it was so light and hard to see that we surrounded it with a little bit of a light outline. So, yeah, that type of thing would happen all the time, where we would fix things in Flash. So occasionally, we would even make an entire clothing item in Flash. The Ghost sheet was made that way. It took a long time. We tried to make things in 3D whenever we could. The beanie. Here we go. So the actual item that ended up coming out for April Fool's Day. There it is there. And I believe, yes, I even had it that when you walked, if you can see over here, the idea was when you walk, it would spin. I honestly can't remember if we kept that in the final 3D model. I kind of think we didn't because it just looked weird. But yeah, it was an idea that I had just to give a little bit more motion to a clothing item. Not sure if it would have worked out great. The eye patch, or at least in this case, the eye patch string. So to make the eye patch, we just had that string going around the penguin's head and then colored one of the eyes black and just put that right on top. That was our eye patch. Cheap tricks. The life jacket, which didn't need sleeves, so this is actually how it would have looked. Gotta stay safe when you're a penguin who can swim far better than humans can. Why did we give them life jackets? Oh well. The poncho. This item was a big pain for doing the special dance and the waves and all that kind of thing. The dance poncho kind of had to be animated from scratch just because of how much crashing through there was there and how we couldn't do anything about it in 3D. So that item took longer to make, but I like the poncho. I think it turned out well. The lei, which probably has a higher polygon count than most of the clothing items now that I'm looking at it, because we just repeated the same 3D primitive star shape over and over again. But yeah, that came out for the Hawaiian party, which one of my regrets was that there wasn't ever more Hawaiian parties on Club Penguin. I think that would have been fun. Also, you notice that I actually kind of cheated to make the shoulders work for the dance because I didn't want to have to draw that over and over. So I actually did move in the little bits of the shoulder pieces here in and out just to make it easier on myself. The feather boa, which I believe was, just a simple tube along a curve, or as is more likely in Swift 3D, I just kind of had to extrude to make the shape of it there, because I don't think you could go along a path and make an object. Oh well. Chef hat, or what is known as a toque, mentioned that earlier. So there was that guy there. And let's see, did I actually put in... No, it isn't in here. I thought the animated special dance might be in here for throwing the pizza dough up in the air, but it looks like it is not. So that's a shame. I was really hoping that some kind of special dance would have shown up there. But, yeah, the chef hat and the apron with the tiny little pizza slice on it were both, I believe, free items for big pizza party launch of the plaza area there. Memory doesn't serve me well. This was 13 years ago. But yes, I believe there were free items that were available for that. Okay, so that is all of the clothing items I have in this new file. Now, it's worth mentioning that the thing that seemed to excite people most about the 3D Penguin was when I revealed absolutely everything on the Penguin. So let's do it with all these new items too. Blap. That's pretty great. I'm going to hide the paper bag just because I want to actually see. Oh, that's not going to see much of the Penguin's face. It's such a nightmare. Look at this thing. So one of the requests that I think got a few thumbs up was can we see the special dance with this guy? So let me make sure which frames they are. Frame, I used to know this off by heart. 35 to, I think, 52? 53? Okay. 35 to 52. Let's render this out and see how it looks. Through the magic of video editing, I have rendered it out. It actually took a little while because there were over 50,000 polygons, and this isn't a great rendering tool. But here we go. So there's a few things about this. First of all, this is an abomination. But secondly, you can see why when we did the special dances for the hockey stick, we just left this hockey stick on the ground, because it would have just cut off his head. And I think that's a rude thing to do. So the more I look at it, the more grotesque this seems. So I'm going to stop that now. But yeah, there you go. That is a penguin wearing absolutely everything they could possibly wear, at least up until, say, the first third of 2006. Thank you for watching this video, and I will make another music one soon. I have a couple of topics that I've been curious about trying, but for now, enjoy this, and thank you for watching, and waddle on.